What's going on YouTube? I'm E and this is Simply Put Scents. And I wanted to talk to you guys about a fragrance that came out in the year 2016 by the house Ferragamo, and the fragrance is Whoa.
When I say whoa, I mean whoa!
I bought this a while ago and I did a first impressions. If you're interested, you can click it up there and check it out. But I really wanted to go in depth and further along with this scent, so I tested it hard and here's my full review. So what does Uomo smell like? It's gourmandish and sweet but masculine. It's the first gourmand leaning designer scent Ferragamo has ever made for men so far. They only do like freshy, uncomplicated, warm weather fragrances, and Uomo is far from that. While I would describe it as a thick scent, I wouldn't say it's dense. It doesn't really feel heavy, you know. It's a thick but airy scent. You know, I don't know if there's a lot of depth in this, but it does come across cakey. The featured note in this fragrance is tiramisu, and I really like tiramisu cake, but I gotta admit, I'm not really convinced that I smell tiramisu cake within this fragrance, because I don't know if coffee is the main thing I get, which is what I get when I smell tiramisu. But I feel like the fragrance does get close to the idea of what that smell is, and I feel like that adds like an extra unique slant to what otherwise would be a typical sweet scent. Uomo performs pretty decently on me. I get between 8, sometimes even up to 10 hours on my skin with really strong, almost loud projection within like the first hour and a half. But after a while that immediately calms down and it behaves a lot more tamed than the start would allow you to think. It will waft around and project for at least 3 hours before becoming a much closer to the skin scent. And for sure, it will leave trails. Like the sillage of this scent is, I would say, very good altogether. I think the fall and winter along with spring nights would be a great time to wear Uomo. In the cold weather, you could easily get away with wearing this in the daytime, but I would consider it much more of a night scent, and I definitely wouldn't wear this at work. This is definitely a scent you would wear for night outs, like dates, hanging out with the fellas, going out to the bar, the club. You know, I'd spray this about an hour before I go to any dates, but yeah, it would be a good thing for you on a date, if you let it air out. Uomo is on a thin ice between different and typical. Depending on your perspective, it could be either or. You could say it's another sweet Tonka heavy wannabe, or you could say it's one of the more unique Western Oriental styled fragrances made for men lately. To be real, I can honestly see both sides. It's a typical sweet fragrance doing sweet in a unique way, if that makes sense. This fragrance can be had now for under $40, so in my opinion, the value is very high. If you don't own many bottles, this bottle will go a long way. You won't need much juice to smell it, so it will last a while. However, if you don't value sweet fragrances for men, or Tonka may not be a note you're into, I would definitely skip this scent regardless of the discounted price. Uomo has lovers and it has detractors. Those who love it though use words like yummy, sexy, smells good. And those who don't like it really say words like too sweet or overpowering. You know, choosing the right time and place to wear this, along with how many sprays you use, will really go a long way with how other people perceive it on you. Those who may hate it most are people at work, or women on dates with guys who would spray this about 6 or 7 times.
I don't love you anymore.
Now, if I had to come up with negatives others might say about it, some would say that it's too sweet. Some would say that it's overbearing. And others would probably say that it's too loud. I think some people would also complain that it's not versatile enough for them and it doesn't evolve much, or it's kind of linear. And of course, the experienced noses or those niche dudes will definitely feel like this is a synthetic scent not worth their time. Now, I feel like all of those critiques have some real points, but I would say the pros of this fragrance outweighs the cons. So as you know guys, I like to rank fragrances in what I call the page rating system, and that is P for poor, A for average, G for good, and E for exceptional. So guys, where does Ferragamo Uomo land on the page? Well, I consider this fragrance an A+, which basically in my rating system means above average. Some would say that it's not so special, and they might be right, but what it does well is so good that I feel like that takes this scent out of the average territory. It's a cold weather scent that actually lasts and cuts through the cold. It smells different and unique enough to stand out over similar style scents because of its performance, and it's easy to like smell. I definitely feel this fragrance will get you noticed in a good way. Some will say that it's not versatile, but I feel like you can wear it often enough that it wouldn't gather dust in a normal size collection. You could comfortably wear it 3 out of 4 seasons at night. So it's actually a lot more versatile than I feel like some people give it credit for. And I feel like the scent is really hard to hate. Unless you're a guy who really hates sweet fragrances, or you're like not into Tonka, or you might just be like someone with a really upscale strict taste. But otherwise it would be really hard to hate Uomo, especially for the average person out there. It gets great reactions from women and people around you, and if you wear it to the club, it will do wonders, like wonders. You can't go wrong with Uomo if you want to smell memorable and likable without breaking the bank. You know, I really like the smell. I feel like it lacks the character, fullness, and depth I would expect of, let's say, a G or an E type of scent. But for what it is, I find that this scent would be a worthy addition for the cold weather. So guys, what do you think about Ferragamo Uomo? What do you feel about Ferragamo scents in general? Comment down below, subscribe to SimplyPut Scents if you haven't already, and of course, like this video if you feel like it. I would always appreciate the support, my friends. Thanks so much for watching again. I'm E, and this is SimplyPut Scents. And I'm Simply O-U-T. Peace. Today's video, guys, is all about mass appealing bestseller designer fragrances. These are men's fragrances made within the last decade that are sure thing future classics in the fragrance game. These are the best of the best sellers.